What's up, guys? You're watching Live Fight TCG. Just another super quick Death Shadow update. So you might recall that at the last monthly event at the local store, I played Death Shadow and I top forward and I got Taiga. And just today I played in the same monthly tournament for September. Top forward with the same deck and got another Taiga. So just a quick rundown of the deck list. The lands: 3 Wasteland, 2 Underground Sea, 4 Watery Grave, 8 Fetch lands, 2 Preordain, 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, 4 Force of Will, 4 Days, 4 Thoughtseize, 3 Hymn to Torag, 1 Liliana the Last Hope, 2 Dismember, 1 Fatal Push, and 2 Reanimate. And then the creatures: 2 Jace Bryn's Prodigy, 4 Death Shadow, 4 Street Wraith, and 2 Tombstalker. At the sideboard, 2 Liliana's Triumph, 2 Plague Engineer, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Force of Negation, 3 Ratchet Bomb, and then 1 Submerge, 1 Dark Blast, 1 Liliana the Last Hope, and 1 Infernal Contract. So, just my thoughts on the deck now, sort of post Modern Horizon after playing it twice. I think the Tombstalker is probably not good anymore. Like, it was already one of the most suspect cards in the list to start with compared to just playing Geomag Angler. But I think Plague Engineer and Plague Engineer, Ren and 6 have really like neutered a lot of the go wide strategies, where Tombstalker was effective at being able to fly over their blockers. It's still okay, but I definitely noticed a lot more games recently where the 1 mana discount on Angler would be more important. So I might make that shift again next time. And for a similar reason, which I sort of noted in the last video, the 1 main deck Liliana is like a little bit weaker now as well. I might make that at just a the 4th Wasteland because of Death being so popular. That's something you could do. With blue-white decks currently in a bit of a downswing, I think Infernal Contract might not be needed in the sideboard anymore, at least at the moment. Maybe 2 Liliana in the 75 is too many for similar reasons as what I just mentioned. 1 Dark Blast is still kind of okay, I think, just against the Death and Taxes kind of decks, and it's also fine versus Depths because it kills Confidant and X-Mage. Submerge is really good right now. I think you could probably play a second one. It's not only good versus Depths, but against all of the Timberwolf decks. 3 Ratchet Bomb's still great. You sort of have to play 3 just because you need answers to Chalice and stuff. And then Force of Negation, this card's pretty staple right now, I think. 2 Surgical, kind of the same. And then, like, this mix is kind of fine, but like, the Edicts can maybe be not dismembers. They can maybe be more submerges. And like I sort of said in the last video, I think Snuff Out might be fine at the moment as well. So yeah, I still think the deck is pretty fine. The matchups were, I beat Show and Tell 2-0, like the standard Seek and Show. Then I beat LED Dredge 2-1. So in one of the games, I sort of like crippled his setup with Surgical, and in the other one he just got like a slow start, and he didn't really get the ball rolling fast enough, and he got a bit unlucky on his dredges. So yeah, I won that match. And the next round was against Eldrazi. So yeah, he basically, I don't think he ever like cast Chalice, or it never resolved. And then I just basically felt like relatively in control the whole game. Just having that extra removal helps a lot, and Plague Engineer is pretty solid in that matchup, especially when they're playing like Eldrazi Mimic, which not all of them are, but his version was. Then the round 4 I lost to Depths, like a more Jundi kind of version. Because I don't know if he was playing crop rotation or not. I think he might have just been like Hexmage, Depths, Elvish Reclaimer, Dark Confidant, Tarmogoyf, discard spells. Kind of like a, and plus some like Decay and Trophy and stuff. A little bit of an interesting version. I think when I figured out sort of like what his plan was and I could sideboard a bit better against it, I figured out sort of how to beat it later. So I lost 0-2 to him, and then I beat Rugdelver, like the old school Canadian threshold with the Stifle and the Mongoose. So in it's just a sort of like Delver non-games. The first game was not a non-game, it was actually pretty interesting. He had 2 Mongoose, but like I was navigating to a spot where I resolved a bunch of shadows and he couldn't attack. But like I kind of couldn't attack either because I was in danger of being bolted out. And then on sort of like the final turn where I played like another threat, and I was going to go for the big like double attack to force him to block, he bolted me in step, and then he untapped and brainstormed and drew another bolt. So yeah, so that game he used 3 bolts and a chain lightning to kill me. So he only had like 2 outs left in his deck during that final turn. And then in game 2 I just wasted him off his 1 land, and he didn't find another one for like 4 turns. And then in the 3rd game he mulliganed to 4. So I'll take it. But I think their matchup's pretty decent. Obviously in Wasteland matchups, that's sort of another spot where Angler's better than Tombstalker. Flying over True Name can be relevant, but I think the 1 mana is slightly more important. But Death Shadow is just so good versus Tarmogoyf and Mongoose and stuff. So, yep. That was the 5th round? Yeah, and then I just ID'd the last round of Swiss to get into top 8. In top 8 I played against the same Depths opponent from round 4, and I beat him 2-0 this time. Because after I realized he was more of like basically a Jund deck, I pretty much just boarded out my discard spells. That's something I think Death Shadow players might not do enough of, is board out him to Turok, and especially Thoughtseize. Some people might be viewing it as kind of like a daze card that you're never supposed to board out, but there are definitely matchups where Thoughtseize becomes a lot weaker. And I think in matchups where like they're kind of just basically mid-range decks where like everybody just plays all their cards as soon as they draw them, then Thoughtseize is obviously much worse, and especially when half the combo pieces are lands that you can't even discard with it anyway. so that's something to keep in mind. And then in the top 4 I played against Devs again, and I lost 2-1. There was a bit of an interesting situation where I had to decide. My opponent tapped out his stage, and I could consider waste because he had green up for crop rotation, which he might have had, but I didn't have any info on his hand. So his board was wasteland, untapped, stage, and a bunch of lands. So, and he tapped the stage, and I have to decide whether I want to let him untap with it or not. So if I do let him untap with it and he top decks depths, then he can just play it and win, because he wastes my waste, then I waste one of his pieces in response, and then he just combos. So if I suspect my opponent's going to do that, then I want to waste before he untaps. But if I think my opponent has crop rotation, then I don't want to waste, because if he tries to combo off next turn using the same trick, but if he needs to use crop rotation to find the dark depths, then he won't have enough mana to do the full combo. So he'll have to wait until he finds crop rotation plus another mana source. So I did go for the wasteland in the end, and I'm not sure if that's like overall correct or not. One thing to consider is that I had Force of Will in my hand, but no other blue card yet. But my only threat in play was just Liliana. So I have to think about, like, if I waste now and he needs to wait, if he top decks crop rotation later, then it gives me time to also find a blue card for my Force of Will so I can counter his crop rotation. But in the end his hand was double crop rotation, so after I wasted him, he rotated away the stage for another stage, and then he untapped and he rotated away another land for the depths, and he comboed off. So yeah, and I probably made some other like weird sequencing errors with my life loss and stuff, because I was on just one life too low that I couldn't hard cast Dismember on the Marrowlage to live one more turn to give me another out to find an Edict or a Submerge. So yeah, lots of little things like that. The Grey Ogre Games stream is normally quite good. I think the commentators are normally quite onto it, and they usually find out all the different correct lines and stuff. So yep, Shadow's still okay. It's on the cards for the All Of event, which is in about a month from now. The other deck that's caught my eye just now is Daryl Ayer's Rugdelbert list. So he's gone back to a list with Stifle, which has sort of fallen out of favour recently. But he's not playing Mongoose, he's playing like three Hooting Mandrills and a Preordain or something. So that's kind of interesting. Like, his list doesn't have any true name in the 75, which I find really odd. I have to think about that a bit. Also, playing 3 Delve creatures seems like a lot to me. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. I might play like 2 Hooting Mandrills in a true name, or 2 Hooting Mandrills in a Hex Drinker or something like that instead. But certainly that deserves a bit of a test out, I think. And the other deck, which looks super sweet, is the Jund Phoenix with the Land Grant and the Bedlam Revelers and stuff. So now that we have 2 Taiga, maybe we can take that for a spin. But I don't think I'm going to get enough reps in with that, assuming I do even play it at all, before the end of the month and the Chinese tournament. So maybe in the distant future I'll do a tournament or 2 with that deck, but probably not anytime soon. Anyway, that's all for today. Hope you enjoy my Death Shadow coverage. If you have any questions, any suggestions, if you want to watch my games on the Grey Ogre Games stream, you can search for that on Twitch. Just just Grey Ogre Games. It's a local store in Singapore. Yeah, that's all. This is Life by TCG signing up.